Good morning and happy Easter, everybody, and welcome to Tarot Time. And this is Adam of the Medium channel, where we bring you the spirituality behind the message. So it's obviously Sunday morning, kind of feeling like I just rose from the dead, and here with you for Tarot Time for a special Easter edition. And last night, a lot of you were in last night. We did a very powerful Archangel transmission with Archangel Gabriel for basically ascension and awakening. Very appropriate to the seasons and the time of the year that it is right now. And of course, that's available on the Medium channel, this channel, that is. And um, after I did the transmission, I always do like a meditation afterwards and continue like my work. And that's when the energy of Christ or Jesua or Jesus or Christ consciousness came through. And I'm going to share these messages in a minute. They're not really new messages. Um, but anyway, I'll share that in a minute. I just want to say a couple quick hellos and get right into this morning. So yeah, a couple of people are in. I wasn't expecting too many live people today because after all, it's Easter Sunday. It's a family day. It's a religious holiday and everything. A lot of people are at service now, and we'll catch this as a video. But thank you everybody who's here live, and I hope you're having a fabulous Easter. Here in the Catskills, it is, last check, 38 degrees. Expecting snow showers this afternoon. Expecting up to 3 inches of snow tomorrow night into Tuesday. So happy spring. And it hit 85 here on Thursday, here in Phoenicia, New York, which is not high elevation, but it's still in the mountains. So anyway, wacky weather. There's a blizzard in North Dakota. There's a blizzard in uh, South Central Canada. It's going on a lot of tornadoes and severe weather. So Mother Earth is very active as there's a lot of shifts and there's a lot of shifting energies. Now, I just peeked at the ephemeris briefly, and I don't think Sharita is on to lend any credence to any of the astrological stuff. But we had the full moon yesterday. The moon's currently in Scorpio, but the effects of the full moon are still happening. But we shifted from Libra to Scorpio, and there's a lot of lunar aspects. There's a lot of planetary aspects the next couple of days, and in fact, I was at least awake enough. Like I said, I rose from the dead, and I'm resurrected, and I'm here with you today. But in my ephemeris here, let me see. I know Moon was squaring Pluto, and Moon's opposing Uranus and oh my goodness, Mercury later today. So they're conjunct. So the oppositions and the squares add tension. The Moon is our subconscious, and and Uranus is really a higher octave of energetically of Mercury. So if Mercury is like the mind, Uranus is the higher mind, and it's sort of revolutionary, very kind of changeable energy. And then we have the moon. The sun is going to be squaring Pluto tomorrow, and Saturn squaring the north and the south nodes. There's a lot to talk about astrologically. Now, we're going to come into Taurus season on the 19th. We're also going to come back to Sharita star season on the 19th because she's going to give us an update on the spring, the astrology and the numerology, as well as um, we have the next new moon and full moon cycle are going to be eclipses, and then Mercury's going to be going retrograde in early May. So she's going to update that, help us to prepare for these astrological and numerological events. A lot's going on in the world. It's not going to end anytime soon. So anyways, blessings, beloved, and Yvonne, and Nancy, and Linda, and Lisa, and Ria. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody who's here live. And again, happy Easter. So let me start out with the message. We were doing the Archangel Gabriel channeling last night, and it's still available. These transmissions, because we work with energies and beings that have transcended time and space. So the long and the short of that is that you can tune in any time and tap into the same energies. This is really about renewal, rebirth, significant with the season. So I light my candles, I do my prayers, my meditation. Then Jesus or Jesua or whatever names you want to call comes through. I work with Jesus. I work with these energies. I work with a lot of the ascended masters. Um, and understand this is only my own interpretation. We don't know what happened 2,000 years ago necessarily. So putting this out there with a little disclaimer, no offense meant for anybody that follows the traditional religion and the teachings as we know it in current times of the Bible. But as he came through, first thing is like, well, I wasn't crucified, basically. I did not die on the cross. And um, and then he kind of goes on to say, but what happened was that part of an initiation into the higher mysteries was that he was hung or I don't know, hung or something on on a tree with a cross shape for several days. I believe 3 days or 4 days. No food, no water, and that was like an initiation rite that he had, and basically it's symbolic of a rebirth. That's what initiation is. It's a death and a rebirth. And what he was describing is not at all unlike the Lakota Sundance ceremony. And if anybody knows that, you may see what that is. You may see the relevance of that. But it's a ceremony that's done where those that are ready for their initiation or to dance, they actually hang from a hook from a tree. Now, this is really interesting because they do this for 4 days, no food, no water, hanging from a tree for 4 days. This is after doing a sweat lodge, mind you. And basically, scientifically, or doctors might say that's impossible, that the human body can't go with 3 days without water. But this just kind of shows that once you're able to elevate into spirit, into your higher truth, your higher self, you transcend the limitation of the body. And we see that in a lot of different ways. Like Wim Hof is a good example, running half marathons north of the Arctic Circle barefoot in shorts, and climbing Mount Everest again in shorts, no oxygen or anything like that, and doing his cold plunges. So, anyways, getting back to the story. So he's saying, so as we're channeling, getting this information, it's like, well, the narrative got changed. That he had a rebirth. Absolutely, there was absolutely a resurrection. Like that, absolutely did happen, but not necessarily in the way that the people, the men and women, mostly the men, who took the scriptures, cut a few things out, added a few things or whatever. I mean, the long and the short of it is they changed the narrative to a narrative that promotes control of the masses through fear and guilt and shaming. And he was very adamant, no, I did not die for your sins. I did not die on the cross. That did not happen. And the narrative got changed to basically control the masses through guilt and through fear and shaming. Now, where have we heard this before? Oh, right. The last 2 years. So very little has changed, and there's. I wish I had written this down actually, because there was more. But he's sort of talking about, there's these lost years of the Bible, but that's when he was training with the mystics from the East, the three wise men of the East. Like if you can get like a really accurate account of history, if that's even possible, you'll see that there are definitely parallels. It's not like any of this was made up or anything like that, but and I read things like this in books like on esoteric Christianity, like the Aquarian Gospel of Jesus the Christ comes to mind. But basically, those lost years and the wise men of the East were basically the Himalayan masters, or maybe in the car, or what are the mountains in Greece? I forgot the name, but although I may have my geography wrong, I don't know if Greece is anyway. Not to go off on a tangent on a Sunday morning. Um, but then he's sort of talking about, oh, okay, I want to get to the message too. That's sort of the background, kind of talking about, that he lived, basically a full life, as a teacher and a mystic, as an ascended master. And I can't validate through this transmission if he was indeed married to Mary Magdalene, as some claim he was. That part didn't come through, or living as a man or anything like that. But he was saying he wasn't the only spiritual teacher of the time, and basically there's a lot of persecution. There's a lot of suppression of the truth. A lot of the teachings and his followers, basically lived off the grid and bought people in that way. So he's kind of going into that, and that he did have a family, and there were people close to him and everything. And I'm feeling the energy. I feel like he's here right now. Just wanted to say a big I love you to everybody. And the message to the world is, my teaching was not about war. It was not about cognitive dissonance or divide and conquer. My message was love and compassion. And all we need to do is live from the heart, live from compassion, open your heart. What do we talk a lot about on the Medium channel? Heart-brain coherence, which is basically a modernized version of ancient meditation, compassion, ancient meditations that are about opening the heart, expanding the heart, and compassion. Hold gratitude, be grateful for everything that you have. Be grateful for those things that you desire in your life that you may not physically have, because they are real energetically. It's just that your programming or your karma, or whatever your lessons are, or your learning, that it's not able to happen for you in a physical environment yet, but it is real. And when you open your heart, you open your mind, because the heart and the brain are connected. They communicate with one another. Once the heart opens to compassion and gratitude, high end gratitude, when you feel grateful, you match, because we feel grateful when we receive, right? So we automatically match the frequency of the ultimate giver, which is God, the universe, spirit, whatever you want to call it, the quantum field, whatever it is. And when you match that frequency, then what you desire comes to you easily. Your vibration changes. You attract different people, different situations. You show up in the world differently. So differently conducive to attracting what you desire in your life. So the message is, work with your heart, open your heart, feel gratitude, feel compassion for yourself, for everybody. And that was his message. My message was about love. It was about unity. It was about peace. It wasn't about fighting over me and what different people believe about religion. It wasn't about rounding up the pagan people and trying to convert them to Christianity. It was more about honoring everybody and their own experiences and their own beliefs and their own takes on things. Because at the end of the day, we're all saying the same thing. And that same thing is God is love. So that's the message. And hi, Michael. Hi, Doreen and Susan, and love to everybody. Thank you, beloved, for being here. I appreciate you. His message was distorted. Yes. Thank you for, yeah, I was waiting for somebody to actually expound upon that, because what I presented here was really just a kind of like what's the right word? I can't think of the words this morning. Oh my goodness. But it was really, it wasn't the complete picture. Just basically the outline of the message and what he wants to share with us. It goes deeper than that, and thank you. So share away, please. Share away. So let's do some tarot stuff, and I always like to do a little tutorial now. Message from Jesua, messages from spirit, a lot of control through fear and stuff like that. And tarot cards are not of the devil. They're not, mediumship, which is what I do. You wouldn't be here if you believed that I was doing satanic practices, obviously. And if you look at yeah, and especially if you can get to some of the ancient scriptures before that, it went from what Roman to Aramaic to Greek to German to English. I mean, there's like 4 or 5 translations of the Bible. And then there were meetings of these people that wanted to start a religion based on Christ, but they distorted a lot of it. Again, the essence of all religion is pure. It's love, it's God, it's spirit. However, when it becomes an institution, then there's dogma, there's rules, there's regulations, there's programming involved with that. So the message we want to bring is that, yes, there's truth in the Bible. Yes, this is ancient wisdom. However, understand that it's been filtered through the human ego system and presented in a certain way that is misleading and is keeping people under control so that a higher power and a higher authority can rule them and can own them, basically. So that's basically religion and society. It's all taken. So anyway, tarot, the origins are not 100% known. We do know through works of people like Arthur Edward Wade, Israeli Vigardi, people like that. You have scholars, occult scholars from the 1800s. We do know that it relates to the Kabbalah, and of course Christianity evolved out of Judaism, which evolved out of paganism also. Interestingly, Easter is the only lunar-based holiday, major lunar-based holiday on the Christian calendar. So the holiday of Easter actually preserves a slight thread of its ancient pagan roots. And Easter is always going to be the first Sunday after the first full moon, after the spring equinox. The spring equinox is in what's the holiday? Maban, I think, or Esther, or Ostara. These are different names of the spring equinox. It's about rebirth. That's what happens. We shift from the dark into the light on the spring equinox. So it's interesting that Easter preserves some of these ancient, pagan ceremony and became a Christian holiday. I mean, you could look at all the holidays and find the roots. I mean, the point being is that it's all connected, like all the religions, all the cultures, it's all connected. So tarot, the major arcana, there's 22 cards, there's 22 paths in at least in the 3-dimensional version of the Kabbalistic tree of life. You can find the 144 in the tree of life also, if you look at it from different dimensional perspectives. And some scholars believe that there's some parallels in the Bible, and there's 10 numbered cards. There's 10 sephira in the tree of life. Then there's the court cards, so they fit in with the different sephira, the spheres of the tree of life. So it's all connected to ancient mystery teachings, hermetics, alchemy, all that kind of stuff. So I picked the star card as just a card to talk about today, because today's the 17th day of the month. This is key 17. You can see some of the systems of numerology, particularly the Chaldean numerology system, kind of preserved within some of the interpretations of the numerology of the tarot. Only they switched the strength card and the justice card. In reality, the strength card's really key 11 and the justice card is key 8, but they switched that. I forgot why. But anyway, this is about hope. This is about inspiration. This is about spirit. This is like my favorite card in the deck, basically. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Our archetypes of the mind. Yes, these are great points. I appreciate this. I appreciate your feedback, beloved. These are really great points, and it's said that the tarot is the book of life, and that every situation in life, archetypes, vibrational frequencies are represented in the different card. The minor arcana, which looks like, oh, that's major, which looks like cards like this that have the numbers and the suits, are more situations like it. But the major arcana are states of consciousness. It's the fool's journey. And I said, when I use the fool on April 1st, we use the fool card as our tutorial. I explained the fool's journey, and I related it to my martial arts training, specifically Bruce Lee, that one of his quotes is that before I started to study the art, a punch was just a punch, a kick was just a kick. Then when I started to learn the art, the punch became so much more than a punch, and a kick became so much more than a kick. But now that I have mastered the art, a punch is just a punch, and a kick is just a kick. So basically, the fool's journey starts and ends with the fool card. So the fool is either key 0 or key 22 in the major arcana. So you go through all the changes. Like the magician is about, oh, I can create my reality. It's often associated with ego. Then the high priest is about the deeper mysteries, and the empress is expansion, and then the hierophant is about the structures, and then it goes. You can go on and see the different paths of spiritual growth. Now, key 17 comes right after key 16. Key 16 is the tower card. So when you reach the tower, things that you built up need to fall in order to rebuild on a stronger foundation. So then you come into key 17, and then you find that sense of inspiration, hope, that connection to a higher vibration of spirit. And this is what happened when I had my awakening. I was only 19, and I tell the story a lot, so I'm going to be very brief. But basically, I was just riding my bike, 2 flashes of light, and all of a sudden, I saw the world differently. Like for a split second, maybe a microsecond, I was one with the universe, and I knew everything. And then I was just like, reduced to tears at that point, and just realized that everything I thought was real was a lie, and I needed to learn the truth. So that's how I started on my spiritual path. So so there's a reason I said that, somehow related to the star card. I don't even remember why, but I think you get the idea. So that's we've all had different awakenings, and we don't have just one awakening. We have different awakenings along the way, different levels of energy or different bandwidth that we can connect with as we ascend to higher dimensional realities through that. So the star card, after the tower, after everything falls away, then it's kind of like we come into this new vibration, this new energy, this new awakening. And then later on, we come into key 20, which is judgment, which is an ultimate awakening to the highest mysteries. And that's the message from Jesus. So let's do a meditation card for the week. And the way we meditate with the way I meditate, I shouldn't say the way we meditate, the way I meditate with tarot is that and incidentally, going back into a little bit of history, Bonifacio Bembo was an artist for King Ferdinand II's court in the Renaissance, and he did these prints called tarocchi. They became basically a game. That's where we get our playing cards from. It's from tarot also. And but the cards depicted medieval images, even though this was in the Renaissance. But and then the scholars surmised that he was drawing on some ancient symbols and ancient wisdoms. But in any event, they were used for meditation and wisdom. It was much more modern that the tarot became a divination tool, and they're now still, I believe, the favorite tool of psychics. And I use tarot when I'm not doing mediumship readings, and I'm doing psychic readings. 9 out of 10 times I'll consult the tarot when I'm doing a psychic reading for somebody, because it really helps to ground and anchor the information they're bringing to me and everything. And they speak to me. And then anybody learning tarot, learn the language, and the language of tarot is different for you than it is for me, because we have different experiences in life. And therefore, because it works with spirit, it works with energy, works with communication. Just like as a medium, they'll give me symbols that I understand as messages for somebody else, because they're able to connect with my energy and know my experiences. And a good example is a lot of times I'll be doing a reading for somebody, maybe he was a construction worker. He comes through in a reading and shows me tarot cards. And in life, this is a person that never would have touched a tarot deck in his life. But as spirit, they're able to connect with my energy, my experiences, and give me messages in my language that I can translate for who's ever getting the reading. So the long and the short of it is that spirit is always trying to guide us to the truth. Spirit is always trying to point us in our direction for our growth. And it's up to us to open our hearts and minds to be able to understand that and listen. But they're always pointing us in that direction, and they're going to make it as easy as possible for us. They're going to speak in our own language. So, they try to make it easy, but we, on the other hand, as humans, are very, very complicated. Some more than others. Okay, so back to our regularly scheduled pulling a tarot card for our meditation card. So when we meditate with the cards, get relaxed, always get present before you meditate. That's an interesting one. Okay. So we're coming off of our chain of pulling major arcana cards for our meditation card. But what we do is once we get really relaxed, step into the card, and this is like a window or a doorway of a whole panoramic 360-degree view. So you step into the card first thing, and this is something that I learned from, I think it was Sharon Klingler, but one of my early teachers, about when you work with spirit and you go into another realm or dimension, one thing that you can do is either find your hand or look at your feet when you get into this other realm or this other energy. So when you step into this card, this just came to me right now to say this. I never said this before. So you step into the card, you find your feet, and then once you see that, then look around and see who's there, what this scene looks like, what this message is about this older person, having the 10 wands or rods, and carrying this load with him, what that means to you, what the message is. Maybe spirit will tell you to work on lightening your load, or maybe they'll tell you have to take on more responsibility in order to move in the direction that you wish to move in, either in your physical life or your spiritual life, or both. Now, the physical life is the spiritual life. You cannot be more spiritual than you are right now, because you are spirit, an immortal spirit having a very, 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 very temporary human experience. You cannot be more spiritual than you are right now. So spirituality is decreased. It's purging the programming. It's purging the false beliefs, the karma, whatever it is, in order for you to discover your truth. And where do you find that? You find that in your heart. And when you vibrate in the heart frequency, you expand into the universal frequency, because your heart and the universe are one and the same. So anyway, that's, if you wish to do meditation with the card, that's the one to do that. So let's do a little 3-card forecast. And thank you for all your comments. Good morning, namaste. Thank you. Yes, connects with spirit. Thank you, beloved. Yes, we have 3 other divination decks we're going to cover today. These used to start out as half-hour sessions. I mean, I just talk too much, I think. There's no way I can keep tarot time to half hour anymore. All right, so this is basically, a message for us, for this collective group here. 24 people on. Well, it's Easter Sunday, so we have only a few people live. But what happened is we get hundreds of people seeing this as a video, and so this message, whether you're live or watching this as a video, you're part of this group right now. So yeah. 3 cards. It's for this week. For us, may tap into world events. I mean, I do those types of predictions. It's not my forte, but I do. Some of them do come out very accurate, though. So have my advanced technology to display the cards here. And on StreamYard, everything's opposite. So this is interesting. I think we're going to hear a lot about people. I don't often get too political with this, but I've seen the Queen of Pentacles. I'm seeing for the Americans, I've seen Kamala Harris in that. I mean, it may be another political figure, um, but yeah, I mean, generally speaking, the energies look good. I feel like this is kind of showing us things may be going a little bit south in like either Ukraine or the Middle East. I mean, Ukraine's definitely not the only war going on the planet, but it's the one that everybody's attention is drawn to right now. But there's been bombings in the Middle East. There's been civil wars in Africa. Um, every war is horrid. So we're not diminishing anything going on in Ukraine and Russia and the bordering countries. It all sucks basically. But I feel like one of the messages here is because the Queen of Pentacles. It's a very to me it feels very grounding. It's almost like the Earth Mother in a way, because Pentacles is about the Earth. The Queens represent water in tarot also. But it's interesting because the Four of Wands. I need to just kind of look at this and kind of take this in. Okay, I think I got it. Um, you can expect some more, maybe I'll say I don't want to use a negative, but distorted news about things about again going back to the pandemic and mandates and what have you. I did about 2 months ago. I did this live stream where I was saying about Anthony Fauci and cover-ups with emails that he received from top virologists, suggesting that given all the available evidence, that the virus more likely came from a lab rather than from through natural means. And that was all suppressed, and they shifted the narrative, and then they censored social media like Facebook. Um, this isn't conspiracy theory, by the way. It's conspiracy fact. There's documentation that shows all of what I'm saying right now, and uh, and I felt like that was going to be the biggest news, in the future, and I still feel like that's going to come out. I just don't know when at this point, because honestly, at the time, I thought this would have already been pretty big news, but I have a feeling that this is going to be really about challenging a lot of the disinformation. I feel like there's such a contrast here because these two cards are really, have a benevolent feeling, like the Four of Wands. It's like a marriage, it's like a ceremony, and yeah, it's reversed, but it's still like a good energy. And then the Queen of Pentacles. I mean, some of us may receive some kind of financial blessing. I think there's somebody in this group that's going to get a really amazing job that they've been seeking for a while, that they've had a hard time getting a new job, and then it's going to come like either this week or next week. Female, an earth sign female, I think this is for. So if that's you, congratulations. And uh, and I think the other thing is I feel like they're saying it's really important now more than ever to stay in your own lane. And every time I stray from my lane, I regret it dearly. I have to say, being very, very empathic and sensitive, and getting if I'm get a little bit stray a little bit and get a lot of negative energy for that, I definitely regret it. So I feel like again, been saying this a lot. This has been one of my newer slogans. We talk about being in the eye of the storm. Being in your heart is the eye of the storm, because you can stay in that place of pure love, pure compassion, pure truth while the world resets. It may sound a little bit trite, but my attitude in a way, like I don't want anyone to get hurt, and I hate the idea of suffering, but sometimes I feel like I just need to stay in my own heart, stay in my own power, and just kind of let them duke it out and figure it out, and kind of stay insulated from all that energy and everything. You can do that, in a compassionate way by staying in your heart. And one of the things that I do in my spiritual practice, because I do energy channeling, as a lot of you know that, once or twice a day, I'll send energy into Mother Gaia, into the earth. I'll just expand my heart and I'll send that out to everybody who's suffering through natural displacement, through the climate changes, through the the struggles in society, the power struggles that are causing wars, that are causing people to die. And and I feel like this is reminding us also to follow the almighty dollar or the almighty yen or whatever country that you're in, because you can get a pretty good idea of the agendas by following the money and the corrupt flow of power and digging a little bit deeper than the mainstream news. But just part of staying in the eye of the storm, try to avoid any of those like internet news outlets that have a political agenda. So if something's right wing or left wing, it's not me, because like the Native American meme says, what if I told you the right wing and the left wing belong to the same bird? So understand what the programming is, that there's a divide and conquer agenda that's going on in the world. It's pretty obvious. It's nothing new. It's just gotten more sophisticated. Those that control everything have gotten more desperate. There is a plan in place. It's being carried out pretty much to the letter. They've had to make a few adjustments. But the idea is awakening would be bad for business of those that control all the money and the power, because if too many people awaken, they're going to see through everything and they're going to rebel, and their plan's not going to work. So there's a suppression of awakening. And I believe they're using technology. Maybe it's through Wi-Fi signals, maybe it's through cell signals, 5G, all that. But I believe they're using technology to really try to thwart people's awakening. That may have been why they put fluoride in all the toothpastes back in the day, because it um calcifies the pineal gland, which is the third eye. So we're seeing all the suppression of knowledge, all the suppression of awakening. Sometimes the best fight is no fight at all. Sometimes the best fight, well, I shouldn't say no fight at all, but the best fight to me is be the best that you can be. And if you stay in your heart, if you work with spirit, you'll know when it's time to act. You'll know if it's time to demonstrate, or if it's time to write a book, or to do blogs, or to do videos, or just to not even, or just to go off grid and just to develop your own spirituality. One of the things that I said in a recent live event was that I was seeing two societies evolving, like a parallel society. I mean, it may be simple. I don't think it's simplistic to the point that it's people that are vaccinated and people that are unvaccinated, but I think that that's part of the theme. But it's more like people that are still buying into the control and the government, versus people that are awakening and getting out of that mold and really wanting to be more in nature, not controlled by technology, but to be more connected to nature, more connected to spirit, more connected to their spiritual ideals and stuff like that. So, technology can be used or misused. And we, since I'm talking about that, and maybe that's going to come up this week because I'm talking about it. To me, it's a terrifying thought about artificial intelligence being kind of integrated into human intelligence. Um, I think people that are really for that never saw the movie Terminator. Anyway, I'll be back. But everything from this computer to where's my iPhone, to my iPhone, to my iPad, every little bit of technology's had a glitch. And that's the nature of technology. There's always going to be a glitch. One of these, was it the Hunger Games movies? I think it's the second Hunger Games movie with the technological geniuses saying there's always a flaw in the system. No matter how sophisticated the technology is, there's always going to be a flaw. And that's what kind of, when I'm looking at it, it's like, I don't want to be hooked up to any artificial intelligence. I want to be out in nature. I want to talk to the trees. I want to get the downloads through nature, and everything. So again, we're kind of fighting for our sovereignty. We're fighting for our rights, but this is about our awakening. It's Easter. Easter is the rebirth. So anything else? Any comments about that? Good for you. No TV anymore. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. So that's yes. I think it's gonna evolve that way. My plan is to move to Hawaii, and 'cause I feel like it'll be easier to survive there should the food shortages manifest to the degree they potentially could. It's another thing that this is probably going to be long this morning. I apologize, but yeah, the know-how exists to feed everybody on this planet. In fact, the know-how exists to feed 10 times the population that we have on the planet. I mean, just grow hemp is one way of providing a very valuable food source that's very renewable and sustainable and good for the earth. Yet, um, 50% of people are hungry. What is it? 85 to 90% of people live at or below the poverty level. Here in the United States, which is the richest country in the world, I don't know the percentage, but it's more people live at or below poverty than not. I'll just put it that way. Yet the resources are there for everybody. So anyway, anything else with these cards, Spirit? Let's move on. I have a Native American deck I like to pull from too. The Native American Tarot, this one's called. Any a pot farm, hemp saves lives. Yeah, very good. Yeah, and weed is medicine. Like anything else, it can be used. It can be an addictive substance and cause problems for people, or it can be medicinal, used for medicinal reasons. Um, so I've always been pro weed. Even after I stopped using it, I've always been pro weed. Um, so, anyways, where I'm drawn to today. So we got, I love the synchronicity. What were we? Yeah, I'm going to bring this closer. What were we just talking about in the beginning? Oh, thank you, Spirit. They just made my day by pulling this card. We were talking about the Sundance. We were talking about the so-called crucifixion of Jesus that never happened. What did happen is that this was an initiation rite, at least from the information that I received. Again, I'll put it out there that I believe this is true because I don't think Spirit's going to lie to me. But I am human, and I do have a human mind that can distort the energy. So that's my disclaimer. But that said, this is it. This is the resurrection. This person's not dying. They're being reborn. They're going through a spiritual initiation, a rite of passage. And what you learn through the Sundance ceremonies, you're not your body, that you can go to a higher place of energy, and your body, your physical body can transcend the so-called physical laws. Like, we don't even need food. Everything that's in food is in the air that we breathe. Even small amounts of heavy metal exist in the air that we breathe. That's why yogis can go through a rigorous practice to change their systems and become airtarians. And I've known a couple of them actually. Both of them said, "Well, I'll eat maybe once a month or once every other month. I'll have a little bit to eat and I'll have a little bit of water, but for the most part, I'm subsisting on just air, basically." Um, so we can transcend the limits of the human body while we're still in a human body. And part of the initiation is to talk in my other language as an energy channel and a transmitter of light code of frequencies, is that we have dormant DNA that are alien ancestors or interdimensional ancestors seeded into the human species when the modern human was created on this planet about 200,000 years ago, probably through interbreeding with extraterrestrial races and proto-humans. Probably is how that happened. But of course, I don't remember. This was a long time ago. I mean, yes, I'm ageless, but I don't remember everything that happened on Earth. Um, but in any event, so that was I love this. That was the message at the very beginning. This is about a personal rebirth that's happening, and Jesus went through a rite of passage to become a sixth level initiate, and maybe even the seventh level initiate. Um, and that was it. That was his rebirth. But anyway, so we get that, right? um, and no, this was not planned. I promise. There's no theatrics here. There's only reality. Um, so I have my medicine cards also with me today. Next week. I may go back to my one of my other animal totem decks. But nature's always been a big message that we need balance. I mean, there's a positive side to technology. Just like there's a positive side to Western medicine. A few of you who know my story, I'll eventually share that in a video. Something that happened to me, but basically, just to maybe as a little teaser, according to medicine, there's a 0% chance that I survived an event. So I will say it was, I survived an event that's virtually 100% fatal. Um, Modern medicine surgery saved my life. So if I was to say something negative about modern medicine or Western medicine, I'd be a huge hypocrite. I believe there's a place for both, but my heart is more in energy healing. It's more in natural healing. It's more using plants, herbs, tinctures, essential oils, and just consciousness. This is what makes us sick or healthy. I mean, it was a cardiac issue. I had a lot of emotional issues related to my heart chakra, and um, anyway, I'll at some point I'll do a video on it, and maybe this spring I'll do one and describe what happened, because I'm in somewhere in medical journals and people at Vassar Brothers Hospital in Poughkeepsie may still be talking about me. But anyways, nature, that's when I started this talk. Nature, yes. um, we need the balance, right? Technology is not a bad thing, but it can be a bad thing. It can be a tool of control. um, but when you're in nature, you can expand into the fields of consciousness. The trees talk. And here's a little homework assignment for you guys. They'll never be corrected, but go out into nature and hug trees. And as you hug the trees, ask spirit, is this tree male or female, or yin or yang? If you don't want a gender association. Some trees have male energy, some have female energy, some have both. Some trees transmit energies of the cosmos into the earth. Some trees take energy from the earth and send it through their bodies and transmit it back to the cosmos. Some trees do both. You can feel that. And one time I was in in Providence visiting my brother years ago, and I did tree communication, and I saw a, a battle where troops came on dressed in red, and it had to have been the War of 1812, because it was in Providence. This was like an old maple tree, at least 200 years old, and I saw that whole battle through the energy of the trees. I've gotten other messages like that. So point being is that trees are often called the record keepers, or sometimes the rocks are called the record keepers by the Native Americans, because the trees can give you everything energetically that happened while they were alive. So anyways, go hug trees. It's good for you. Being out in nature is good for you. That's what we need. And we need to feel again. We need to learn how to feel again. The programming it's really here to rob us of our ability to feel. And when you do start to feel, then you can feel the energies of nature. You can find you know hot spots, cold spots in nature. You can find places that are good to meditate in, places you shouldn't really sit in because the energies may not be conducive to your vibration. I mean, you can learn so much just by being out in nature and just opening your energy and experiencing that and feeling that. So this is the card they want me to pull. This is the raven. I've been seeing a lot of ravens lately, by the way. I think there's a group of them that live by my house. In fact, I think it was last week on Tarot Time, or one of the lives I did last week. I did about four. Yeah, this huge bird just flew over. I thought it was an eagle, but then when I looked, it was like, no, it's all black. It was a raven. So this is 16, in Chaldean numerology, 16 is the tower. Like if 16 comes up, it reduces to 7, so it's Neptune energy. It's about intuition, but 16 is again, it's representative of things needing to be destroyed in order to be reborn. That's the season we're in. We're in the rebirth season. Yes, I am seeing snowflakes. um, so let me see what the book says about Raven also. Um, Jamie Sands, I think, is the author. Jamie Sands and David Carson of the Medicine Card. So that's what the book looks like. And I've an updated version. This actually has 54 cards, but the original Medicine cards had 44, which is the 44 medicine shields of the Plains people, the nation of the Great Plains. Um, Raven is magic. Well, we need some magic. Yes. Raven, black as pitch, mystical as the moon. Speak to me of magic. I will fly with you soon. And it says, I'll just read the first paragraph. The raven has carried the medicine of magic. This has been true in many cultures across the planet. It is sacred. In the medicine ways to honor Raven as the bringer of magic. If the magic is bad medicine, the carrier may be honored out of fear rather than out of respect. Those who fear Raven may do so because they have been dabbling in areas in which they had no knowledge, and a spell may have backfired on them. Yeah, that'll happen to you for sure. Rather than analyzing the dark side of sorcery, realize that you will fear Raven only if you need to learn about your inner fears or self-created demons. I feel like I need to read the next paragraph. Raven magic is a powerful medicine that can give you the courage to enter the darkness of the void, which is the home of all that is not yet informed. The void is called the Great Mystery. Great Mystery existed before all other things came into being. Great Spirit lives inside the void and emerged from the Great Mystery. Raven is the messenger of the void. And this is part of tarot teaching also through the tree of life, that that out of the void came the big bang, and this universe of the multiverse was born from the void. So the void is kind of like the cosmic womb in a way, if you will, or the cosmic yoni, or however you want to put that. Love children. Oh yes, yes. You beloved and Doreen, definitely get to know each other for sure. So we'll finish up with an angel message. Protect and nurture the children that show up this way. Yeah, there's so many advanced children now, and I was doing a reading yesterday or Friday, and the spirit came through, and he was talking about like a baby under 2 years old that would point and call the names of the spirits, um which is really fascinating. And I've seen this a lot. Would say, oh, Becky or whatever, but this baby would have no way of knowing that person's mother had that name. And then when they're 2 or 3, they might describe what they look like. Say, oh yeah, she has red hair, and she's wearing a yellow top. Yeah, they do that. And I've heard of babies like that talk about the energies in the crystals. And um, I don't know if it was last night, but somebody was saying something about that crystals don't carry energy, that science proved to the contrary, or whatever. And my response was, all you need to do is open your heart and you can feel the energy of crystals. But when little children, that are 2 or 3 years old, that don't know about energy and don't know that, talk about want to have crystals because they like the energy or they like the way it feels or whatever. I mean, hello, out of the mouths of babes. So yes, protect the children by all means. So no, they are not, Doreen. Children's School of Yoga. Yes, they are so connected to spirit. Yeah, and all those New Age modalities. So here's what I got: Athena. This is Doreen Virtue depiction. The according to her, were channeled to her. Um, and the message of Athena is, it is safe for you to be powerful. That's a good message always, because society tried to diminish our power, make us feel like it's not safe to be powerful. You know how to be powerful in a loving way that benefits others as well as yourself. So that's what I have for you today. So yeah, I'm going back to my original spread here. I mean, she kind of looks like Athena, right? There's kind of a resemblance with the Queen of Pentacles. And she's got the rabbit, and the rabbit represents abundance amongst other things. Rabbits definitely reproduce in abundance, all right. And they're here to teach us, and nature's here to teach us that everything exists in abundance, from the abundance of air to the abundance of trees, the abundance of water, and money and securities and energy also that exists in abundance. So if you really tap into that kind of abundance energy, you can attract abundance financially also, because it's the physical manifestation of spiritual abundance. So I think that's part of the message also, is really, it's okay to really look at your financial or your material situation from a spiritual perspective, and what you need to upgrade that and improve that. And I'm looking at this also because part of my karma has been financial issues my entire life, and I'm finally solving it at age 63, I might add. And the idea is like if I have more money, I could do more. Like I could expand my teaching to more people. I could travel more. I can, there's a lot you can do with money in a really positive way. But we're programmed, especially like spiritual people tend to be programmed like money's dirty, it's not spiritual. And I fell for that belief system also for a lot of years. And back in the day, I would look at disdain with people about riding the BMWs, and then wondering why I wasn't manifesting money. Like, but in any event, I awakened from that delusion. I'm good now. So I think part of the message for us is look at what you can do to improve your financial situation. Oh, thank you for the last thought. Remember, we're in a very unstable time. Have some food and supplies on backup. Very important. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. We've been talking on this channel a good year, if not longer, about coming food shortages. I mean, they're not coming, they're here already. But where I live, because I'm near Woodstock, New York, it's a fairly, even though it's the Catskills and it's, out there in the boonies, I mean, some of the shelves are a little bit scanty, but if you look in other parts of the country, there's empty shelves. I mean, there's already a food shortage that's happening, and it's good to be prepared. Like, do you have what you need just in case you need to survive the next couple of months? I mean, all it would take is a coronal mass ejection to wipe out the grids. We run on satellites. How vulnerable are satellites? Like a mass coronal ejection, it could take out the whole like satellite system. And what would happen? There's no internet, there's no cell phones, because all of these run on satellites. I'm thinking about canceling my direct TV, because I don't even watch TV anymore. So I think that's the other message that I missed before. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. Have dry food, have non-perishables, in case you need to survive an extended period where goods and services become temporarily unavailable, basically. All right. All love, this is all nothing fear-based here. This is all about empowerment. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry that we kind of upstate New York farmland. Yes. Oh, that's all good. Yeah. Beloved does amazing light language transmissions. So she's got her channel here if you want to check her out, by the way. And thanks for joining us. Basically, also everybody, not just Beloved, but everybody that's here. All right, so I know we went way over. Thanks for everybody that stuck it out this morning. Tuesday we have Sharita. Monday, tomorrow night, I'm doing, this is not on YouTube because I have a membership program. It's called Spirit Mind Family, that's on Patreon, which is it's a private platform, so I can say things where it won't get censored. So we're going to do 2 live events this month, and just basically talk more about what's going on in the world and what we need to do about it. And I'll do a Q&A. So tomorrow on Spirit Mind Family, and I think at the very top of the live comment thread, I left a link if you want to check that out. It's our membership program. It's basic membership's $5 a month. It's no commitment or anything like that. You can come and go as you please, and that helps support the channel, what I'm doing here. But also we give you free videos, free we won't say free, well, it's a donation, so we can say free. Free meditation, free videos, free content. But we do 2 live events where you can ask questions, get answered. We can really talk about what's going on. As it is, I'm going to have to modify the monetization of this video because of things that I talked about. Not that YouTube will censor this video, but if I but they may demonetize it. I don't care if they do or not. I mean, really, but the point being is that and then I'm in the future I may look into things like locals, that I think is even a better platform than Patreon is, and platforms like that. So it may move, but right now it's on Patreon. So tomorrow at 7 we're going to do a live chat. If you have questions or things you want to talk about, let me know, and check it out and join us. That's our inner core community, so we can really kind of shoot the shit, so to speak, and really talk about things, from Fauci to vaccine mandates to agendas behind wars, and very profitable, by the way, for certain sectors. Lockheed Martin, is a good example. So we get a chance to really talk about that and connect in this community. So anyway, Tuesday night, Sharita Starr, she's our expert numerologist, astrologer. She's going to talk about the upcoming eclipses. Pluto goes retrograde. Then we have our next Mercury retrograde beginning in May. But I think the approach starts this week of Mercury retrograde. So you're going to start to feel it this week if you're not feeling it already. All right. Again, thank you, everybody. Love and light. I love you.